every tree that you prune, you're cutting, you're thinking about what you want to take off, and that's right. But also think about what you're leaving, and is the tree that you're leaving in a healthy growth pattern. So before you go cutting pieces off of it, have a plan for what's going to stay, and then you can leave a happy tree. I cleaned these off, but I left still something of a collar sticking off, and the spot I chose is kind of where I can see where the wood is going to heal. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but as this cut heals, it's gonna die back into there a little bit as the tree heals itself. So I want to leave enough of a collar that dying process happens outside the main trunk. Then the rest of the tree will stay strong. This isn't that heavy, but even when they're longer, even if they're not that big, there's a lot of torque and a lot of pull, and it's really easy for that to rip. So instead of taking this off with one cut, I'm going to make two. The first one just to get the weight off. That much is enough. Okay, now with all the weight off, I can make a much more precise cut here that will just clean it off nicely. No rip. So even though the branch isn't very big, it's got a lot of torque sticking way out there, and so I don't want to make my first cut real close to the trunk because there's a good chance it's going to rip. And we want to protect the main trunk from anything. Whenever there's something hazardous, think about your escape route. Have at least, preferably a good 180-degree zone where you can step back from whatever's falling. So I've got that now. Okay, that was uneventful, but we like uneventful. But knowing what to be ready for before it happens is always to your advantage. Before I even start to cut, I can see there's a natural spot for where this collar is going to go. There's just kind of a natural seam in the wood here. So I'm going to start my cut where I can most easily see that and just follow the angle that's already part of the tree. Yeah. And you can see how the diameter of the cut was starting to increase, so I don't want to go in really any closer than that, but that's a good cut. The more straight up you're reaching with the pole saw, the smaller branches you can get away with cutting. If you can use a full extension but be back at a little bit of an angle, then yeah, I would still undercut it and then come down, and then you probably avoid getting pinched. When you're right under it, it's really difficult to avoid getting pinched. That's why I say the smaller ones you'll get away with a pinch. Bigger ones, no. The other thing about being right underneath it, it's headed right for your head. So hard hat is really a reasonable thing to do. And also why don't cut something really big that's right over your head. You know, if it's gonna, if protecting your head is gonna break your arm, probably don't cut it.
Yeah.
So this is, just pretend this is up in a tree, and you're cutting it. If you come in at this angle, you've got a lot longer cut to make, and it's going to be sloppier. So because you're working with a pole saw, the only way you can fix that is to move around and stand in a different spot so you can come in perpendicular to the. In other words, you're making the smallest cut
rather than taking
making this long thing. It's better for the tree, and your cut will come apart a lot cleaner.
Okay.
Those long cuts like that, they tend to twist and rip and stuff. So you picked a really good spot to cut from. Okay, so we found these. They're some good examples of larger things that you might want to cut because they're dead, and this is good firewood for somebody.
Right here.
All right.
Chop it up for 'em.
But they're also curvy and twisty and tangled in other stuff, and so they're pretty hazardous to cut down. And we're just gonna like demonstrate how to try to deal with it safely, and then we'll probably get a chance to see, here's some of the weird stuff that can happen when you actually cut it down, because it's just gonna get weird in some unpredictable way. So okay. Like we've been, I'm just gonna cut up higher. It leaves this thing more freedom to fall through whatever it's tangled in. If I cut close to the ground, it's pinched at the ground, and then it has to rotate and stuff. Okay, we know that there's only one way this can go. It's headed that way, so why do I need to make a notch to tell it where to go? Well, it's not to tell it where to go, it's just it releases the cut. It'll make the cut break away more smoothly. If Madrone, it's really hard and brittle. If I didn't do this at all, it would totally split and rip and get all kinds of weird. If I just made a single slice, it would pretty quickly lean up against that and bind on it, and then it would still like pop when I came through the back to a certain degree. So making a notch, especially in something dead and hard, right? It's got no more flex. It's not gonna crack. It's just gonna be brittle right till the end, and then it's just gonna pop. All right, so you've all spotted it already. This one's even more complicated for all those reasons. So you just need more of everything. More clearance, more of an escape route for me. And just, more ready for something unpredictable to happen. If I could do anything to avoid smashing the baby redwood there, I would, but I can't really do anything preemptive. I might miss it, I might not.